Thank you for staying with us. Now, we'll take a look at the newspaper headlines. Again, we have in the studio the Director of News, Voice of Nigeria, Ben Chemang, to give us perspectives on some of the stories on the front page of our newspaper. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, Elia, as usual. Thank you, Stella. All
right, now we'll take a look at the lead story, beginning with the lead story talking about politics. It says APC ticket, 2 northern governors behind Jonathan's return bid. It has the writers that says Ayade meets Buhari, says I will step down for ex-president. We are waiting for final signal by Elsa Elder, and then lawyers differ on legal obstacles. The next one, below the pictorial shows you photos of some of the abductees of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack. There, about 26 of them released by the terrorists. And then you have also, at the very bottom of the paper, Imo illegal refinery fire. 50 victims get mass burial. And then 2023, Ogun governor dumps Tinubu for Osibajo. And then the next one, mortuary attendant mutilates corpse, plans to sell head for 50,000 naira. A sad story there. AFDB unveils $1.5 billion Africa Emergency Food Plan. And then the next one, criminals collaborating to bomb worship centers, public places. That's according to the DSS. These are the stories on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper.
All right. Mr. Chairman, we would like you to give us a perspective on these stories, but I would like you to start with the major story on the Daily Trust. 2 governors behind ex-President Jonathan's presidential bid.
And Governor Ben Ayade of Cross Rivers saying
he's ready to step down.
Going to step down when the former president declares. At the point some people took it as a joke. Now it is becoming almost a reality. It is dominating. So it's like those days it was flying a kite.
It was like a rumor.
Exactly.
Well, but it's still a rumor, right?
Yeah, it's becoming to have some substance.
Too strong.
You're now placing figures or names, faces, to this rumor. So if Ben Ayade says, if it happens this way, he's going to step down, that tells you there is a substance.
And he's not the first to say that.
He's not the first either. And when you also look at it, he's coming from the PDP background. How long ago did he cross over to APC from PDP? And that was why, if you check, Iyochi, the chairman of the national chairman of the PDP, at the point he congratulated APC. He said from the chairman, national chairman, down to the list, all are or were members of PDP. He said, to him it was like members of his own diaspora going to fix APC. So, are there going to be some mold somewhere against the APC? Or it's just simply an RNG kind of a thing within the political class? And Jonathan's silence too is too pregnant. He should also come out to say something. I was discussing.
He should have dispelled
let me just say this. I was discussing with the top APC man, and he said, look, as far as we know, I don't know the we, as far as we know, the president of Nigeria has not yet declared.
Wow.
So who is this?
That's interesting.
That's very interesting.
So we want to see.
It seemed to be shrouded in a lot of secrecy and a lot of uncertainty, even though there's no time. INEC, is also somewhere reminding politicians that, look, you have...
they need to follow its guidelines.
Yes, you can follow the guidelines, but you see, there's always the MasterCard that you can strike. And you do that at the dying minute to avoid some people going to court. So if you declare it that long time, some people will go to court and before you know it. But when you make it at the 11th hour, And it becomes late for you to go to
so
court.
it looks like a lot of Nigerians will be in for a surprise from what we are seeing.
Absolutely. Politicians who want to conduct themselves like the military at the point, speed, accuracy, mixed with time so that they can hit and have what they want.
But Mr. Sherman, not to put the cart before the horse, however, but the ex-president contested, he sought a re-election and he lost. In your thinking, what do you think is the thinking of those asking him to come back, if indeed that is going on?
See, honestly, when President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn in, I was sent to the State House again as a State House correspondent. I did it the Abacha days, I did it the Abdusalami days, then part of Obasanjo, so I was pulled out. But when Buhari came back, he was always full of praises to Goodluck Jonathan. He said, that is a Democrat who indeed, with the arsenal on ground, the military, the police, the state security service, everything, and this man simply willed away power. Look, Buhari has defeated me, called and congratulated him, and it ensured a stable polity. So if that is a credential that some people feel...
Some said that he wouldn't have done otherwise, isn't it?
Well, some other people would have also gone for third time and used the military. But it was all about getting some politicians. Whereas some people also know... Some people have been saying that Buhari should go for a third term, and he's been saying, no, his is just twice, and he has it, and that's enough. And so politicians are wonderful, Nigerians are wonderful. Some people will still go for that kind of third term ticket. But when Jonathan says, look, for the sake of Nigeria, no single drop of blood, say you want to kill because President Jonathan must continue in power. He said, no, I've not mandated anybody, I've not appointed, and I will never elect such people to destroy Nigeria so that he can perpetrate his stay in power. So that also gives him some credentials.
Mr. Sherman, I agree that it gives him credits that he accepted defeat. However, accepting defeat when you have been defeated is one thing, but there was a reason upon which he was defeated. Has that reason been washed away because he accepted defeat?
I would just say no. But if you look at it, those who indeed were campaigning against Jonathan, or the lackluster approach when it comes to security, and that he was not firm a leader, he was simply somebody in government and not really taking charge. So all sorts of clips, some people are bringing them. Look at Tunde Bakari, when he saw Occupy Nigeria, he has failed in terms of security, no employment, no this, no that. Today these clips are coming. I say, is it better now? Now, we are not yet seeing reactions from those who indeed played those cards to ensure Jonathan is defeated.
So
if he was defeated because of that.
So could it be a case of maybe those who have played that card or along that line have now come to the realization that maybe it's not what we thought? Maybe after being in the corridors of power, or maybe being in power, now think that, it's not exactly what we thought it was after
because
all.
It's really not easy steering, this country. It's not really. And some politicians, just like many other Nigerians, this thing when they say you eat the humble pie, you've made mistakes, you've so castigated a public officer publicly, and now you've realized that you did it on the very wrong side, wrong information, only for you to realize you are wrong. But for someone to now apologize and say, look, we made a mistake in simply castigating this guy and ensuring that he was defeated based on lies, they hardly can come out to say, we made a mistake. But again, if they are the same people walking behind the scene, we are yet to see. But time and time alone will say and tell.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's take a look at some other stories now, this time about security. We are seeing photos of the abductees of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack on the front page, about 26 of them. Well, the terrorists have already said, well, government knows what they want from them. And this kind of like is a reminder, to the members of the public that, we have these people, in our custody, and the government is the one we're waiting for to take the necessary action. Do you see this pulling through, this strategy by the terrorists?
Well, usually, as it is said, when they bring photographs of loved ones like this, I mean, members of the families will be agitated, members of the family will be worried. It is a psychological warfare. You bring the victims to show that, look, if you don't do this, these ones will begin to finish them one by one. And that will bring pressure to bear on the side of government. But let's keep that aside and just put a story, I mean, we juxtapose it. A situation where in one of the states, there was this civil defense corps that got the police officer, senior police officer, beaten, arrested him, detained him. The police officer was said to have his own service pistol, but he never fired the pistol. I'm going to somewhere. Now, over in his own office, they were looking for this officer. They didn't find him. They decided to trace his line, only to trace him to a formation of the Civil Defense Corps to a particular office. Said, is there an officer here? Yes, he was. And the man had slept there. They didn't even allow him to contact his loved ones or his office. Now, why am I bringing this photograph? If the police were able to trace all of this and they found their officer somewhere and set him free, now we have terrorists who indeed kidnapped, they killed, they maimed, they destroyed, and they carried these people away. They're now bringing out photographs, saying, look, we have these people. Government, you know what exactly we want. Do this or else what? Now, it also tells the security agencies, if the police can trace their officer and find him and set him free, why is it hard also tracing these people?
There's a dilemma here. There's a dilemma here in the sense that the lives of these abductees is in danger if the military or the security personnel are to go with full force to try to rescue, these victims. Eventually, there will be a lot of collateral damages, isn't it? So it's part of the fear that, that is being expressed by the presidency and even security officials.
Yes, it is part of the fear. You just have to rescue them alive. But again, there are always many ways. They are security agencies. They've been trained on how to disarm people. They do know quite a lot of these tactics. Apart from this, the security agencies, yes, they are in charge of the stick. But for the carrot, is for the political class. The carrot implies the negotiations, whether the begging, the cajoling, some explanations. When they say, release our leaders, that takes a political undertone. So it now has to be done politically. Their demand is, there are too many of their commanders under government custody. Okay, you can release, as far as I'm concerned, to make sure these innocent ones are set free. After all, in terms of releasing them,
would that not be acceptance of defeat?
It's really not about acceptance of defeat. Like it's always said, if a giant shakes hand with a dwarf, that does not make the giant a dwarf. It's not a sign of weakness. It's just like Bob Marley would say, he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. But you don't see the lion you jump into and the lion divorces you. So in terms of negotiation, it is allowed when it comes to war. After a prisoner exchange, what do? You do negotiations, and that is a global practice. It's UN convention. So you can do this and set these people free. It's not a sign of weakness. US did it in Afghanistan. Many other, check Israel, Palestine, they negotiate. Check what is happening in the Middle East. Check even Ukraine, Russia. Are there no prisoner exchange? Are there no negotiations? So they do. If they do that, we cannot cannot stand and simply say, our yes is yes, our no is no. We should have a way of finding a solution.
But in your thinking, do you think any of that is ongoing at the moment? Because it appears that there's quiet on the side of the security agents. That we don't hear them talking about what is being done or if anything is being done at all. As a matter of fact, and these people are staying too long in the bushes or wherever it is that they have kept them.
Absolutely, they are overstaying. But when you say security agencies are quiet, like the state security services, theirs is not to continue, revealing their plans. This is what we plan to do. This is how we're going to release them. This is where we are going to take them to. No, negotiations could be behind the scene that we don't know. It's not for us to also know, look, we can only have maybe at the end, these are assurances. But what indeed they are doing, they could be meeting with some religious leaders behind the scene. They could be meeting with some people who indeed have connections with these people. Tell me how these photographs will just come by. And if you listen to some media houses, they talk to some correspondents. And if they do, look, government should not just feel that it's only government that can do negotiations. You can at well look at if there are some district heads, some village guys, they are always in touch with. I mean, you make use of them.
Okay.
And negotiations will be done.
All right. I want us to take a look at the Guardian newspaper. Quite a number of stories there this morning, and they lead with political stories as well, just like the Daily Trust newspaper. It says, Ayade joins presidential race to withdraw if Jonathan declares. The writer says PDP leaders decline comment on Jonathan's rumored defection to APC. Don't ignore calls to contest. You are APC's trump card. Group charges Jonathan. Tombwell meets Buhari, shuns newsmen after visit. Buhari hosts APC leadership to break Ramadan fast. Tinubu absent in Saudi Arabia for spiritual consultation. Bello pays 100 million naira to pick APC's presidential form today. I may withdraw from race if presidency is not zoned to southeast, says Orji Kalu. Now let's take a look at other stories beside by the left corner of the paper. You have the story that says Salah holidays. DSS alleges plot to bomb worship recreation centers. Go face alleged assault charge at Senate court. Court orders CCT chair. Excitement as the SCOAN set for physical service after TB Joshua's first anniversary. And then you have Rivers Police rearrest 2 suspects for defiling 2-year-old twins. Why I'm not responsible for ASU strike by Ngige. Voter registration in Imo remains suspended, INEC tells Uzodimma. Supreme Court voids Andy Uba's participation in Anambra governorship election. And then troops neutralize, 2 gunmen recover weapons in Imo. Quite a lot of stories on The Guardian this morning. At the very bottom there, you see new APC guidelines give Amechi Ngige 72 hours to resign or forget 2023 ambition. And then you'd also find Zenith retains Best Bank in Nigeria award. Osinachi, only police can disclose autopsy reports. So these are some of the stories on the front page of The Guardian this morning, still all about politics. But I would like for us to digress from that a bit and take a look at some other stories of concern. Now, this still talking about security. The DSS is raising alarm about possible attack on worship centers and public places. This doesn't look like it's new. It's like it's not a new alert. We've had that almost, we've heard that often. We've heard that a lot. So what should Nigerians be doing at this point in time? Are we going back to the days of, having barricades in public places, and maybe some kind of security checks before entering public places, or maybe a ban on women carrying bags. Those are some of the things that I'm sure Stella wouldn't want to go back to.
In fact, they gave us the size of the bags that we could bring to church. You couldn't bring a bag that could contain, where you could put a small arm, So the bag was very small.
True. So perhaps we are going back there, isn't it?
Let us not go back there. Let us not even think about it going back there, because it was horrifying then, and you can imagine those coming from
but those practices helped, isn't it? They really helped in dealing with the spate of bombings in public places at the time.
They helped, but you see, sometimes like this adversary, you're coming to tell us they'll bomb these areas, they'll bomb that heightens tension. And of course, look, you should give us some hope that the government is in charge, so that they don't just say they are going to bomb that place and bomb that place, and people begin to put the government on a scale. What we expect is that, look, when you have neutralized them, you've arrested them, behind the scene, you now call the media. See what we did? These guys they plan to bomb social place.
I thought that the whole idea is for people to be more cautious.
I mean, how do you become very cautious? By not going to church or mosque? How do you become that? By not going to the market? How do you become that? By not going for recreation and relaxing as a free citizen? I mean, children want to go to amusement parks, and you said, no, they are going to bomb this. It's like you create so much tension. And as far as I'm concerned, if you got all of this, trace them. If police, I'll still go back. Recall about 3 weeks ago, some members of the police force were sending messages to their colleagues, to the public, that they were going to go on strike and it's going to be total and in full. Now, the police were able to trace these guys, and today they've been arrested. We should also be trying all of that. Yes, they've been doing that, but again, I always want, in my own opinion, that after you've done the yeoman's job, you've grabbed them, you now call the press conference. Look, this guy had wanted to bomb so place. Thank God we did this. That wanted to do so. Thank God we did. So that people will have that continuous confidence, and that is why they are state operatives, they are security operatives. They should protect us. In fact, we will continue to support them. We will continue to pray for them. We will continue to thank them, because they are always awake, and we can always sleep very well and dream. And that is why they should help us.
Maybe the DSS is doing this for Nigerians to help them to be more vigilant, because don't you think that it reduces the job? It reduces the pressure on our security personnel if Nigerians are vigilant enough to also report some of these things, because it looks like nobody is looking anymore. If you look at the blast that happened in Taraba, about twice in the same week. So it doesn't look like anybody is looking.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, when you're having this kind of a place, there's always a gate. Once there's a gate, yes, there has to be some security checks. You have some metal detectors, some people are passing, then there's that crunching noise that did not alert that, look, a metal is passing, then they check properly. And when you do full scan, a picture appears. If you have a computer, for example, you're passing through, you can see a picture of a computer. If you have a pistol, AK-47, the picture is always there. And that is done far, even before you reach the gate. Not that you reach the gate and you can even begin to fight some 2-3 security men and cause disaffection. So it shouldn't be the proper security checks should be deployed to the gates, and not just warning us, be careful.
Well, I think like Ayuba said, indeed they are doing that, but like we also noted, it has been relaxed. So maybe that's why the DSS is saying, look, it's not Uhuru yet. So could go back to those checks and take them a bit more seriously.
From security angles, sometimes we, the civilians, we don't see what they have seen and done, and that's why we have a seeming kind of easy, peaceful environment. The civilians will say they have relaxed. No, they have rather done a lot to ensure that we have that, and they are doing it. But when you wake up to say, look, they plan to bomb this, more so, I mean, Salah break is around the corner. I mean, people will be going to open spaces for prayer. You go to eat grounds, and that is will ensure mammoth gathering. But it's also not the best of times for us to now have this kind of alert. Even though, yes, it is a warning. Get prepared, but the SSS2 should be able to be on top of their game so that we Nigerians will say, yes, the government is in charge, the security agencies are in charge. I can imagine if this warning had come from ordinary citizens, religious leaders. Of course, they will just say, look, you are raising unnecessary alarm. Now it is the security agencies. We are simply saying that, look, let us do your job the way you are doing it, and we are relaxing. Just grab them behind the scene, deal with them, and show them to us. These people planned this, and now we've been able to overcome the situation. And I think...
Okay, Ayuba, away from security, on that paper that you just talked about, there was the issue of ASU and the minister Ngige is still ongoing. Is there any end in sight?
Some people say it's a usual, an annual party. It's a ritual. Honestly, in as much as they stand their grounds, and it's lingering too much and too long, rather, we should be seeing stakeholders intervening. Some traditional rulers of North coming to bear. Some educationists, old educationists. How I wish the likes of Bab Fafunwa are on ground. And of course, it's not too much if we say President Professor Wole Soyinka should also wade in. Yes, he belongs to the academia, but I think that there are some people who indeed, when they speak, it's like, man, because they've spoken, we should be able to listen to them. But when you also look at two key things, IPPIS versus UTAS, UTS, this is an app generated locally by the Nigerian university system. And they're saying, look, that takes care of all our data, talk of name, date of birth, salary received, where you are, and all that stuff. Just like IPPIS is doing same for civil servants. But they are saying IPPIS is designed abroad, is controlled abroad. If you want to protect data, you want to protect personal security, it shouldn't be controlled abroad. But universal, the one they've created is they say
is IPPS actually controlled abroad? When recently we had news stories where there were fake workers that were enlisted on that platform.
Yeah, okay. I ask you this: where are they controlling Facebook? Yeah. You can stay here and dump whatever you're dumping on Facebook, but yes, the control is somewhere.
The control is somewhere, but we have people in Nigeria that are also controlling it.
Yes, the same method we once spoke on here said GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. Your computer is an innocent instrument. Your AK-47 is an innocent instrument. But what are you using it for? Your biro is so innocent, but what are you using it for? Yes, IPPIS is good as in good. But when you have some people who indeed will go and put in fake names, I mean, they are the ones of putting all of that. If you put in fake names, the computer will hold it for you. You put in new one, good names, the computer will hold it for you. Whatever you want it to do, it will do for you.
So this IPPIS and UTAS, I mean, this is the crux of the matter, right?
Yes.
But, you know, why should ASU be the one, you know, suggesting for government what platform to be paid? Why should ASU be the ones providing UTAS for government, you know, to use as their payment platform? You know, the government says it's IPPIS, and now the government has subjected the UTAS to test, according to them, and it turns out it has not satisfied, you know, the concerns that government has, you know, as far as that is concerned. So,
UTAS,
I mean, suggesting or proposing the UTAD itself, don't you think that that's a problem there?
UTAS is work in progress. And recall just last week, the president ordered that all money given for scientific recoveries, for research and development, look, people should go and see how far. In fact, they should be briefing him constantly. Cannot just be dumping money and nothing is coming out. Remember when coronavirus broke out, there was this money, big money sent, said, this is for scientists, Nigerian scientists. Do research on this and any other disease associated with some of this kind of diseases and bring out results. Let us not just be dependent on this kind of importation. So at the point now, as we are, the president wants some of these research findings, money sent for those things, oversight function, lawmakers, if they can't do it now, the president is saying, brief me quarterly. Let's see how far. Now, if along the line, UTAS, universities, they're saying we've created this, what is wrong with that? Are we simply going to see situations, tell us just a moment, where an engineer, automobile engineer, will prefer to take his car to a mechanic? Now, if they have created something, so be it. Let's begin to use it.
Okay.
When India started with their car, Tata, see what we import them to carry policemen, carry military. That is from India. Marco Polo, look at Brazil. They started and they were always making their mistakes. And of course, they've stabilized. So if we are saying that they've started somewhere, so be it. And that's what it should be. We should not be talking about this theoretical approach to science and tech. Every time you define this, what does it cause? I mean, we are always dealing with definitions and all that stuff instead of creating.
Mr. Sherman,
yes.
Okay, you know, like they say, when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. At this point, don't you think that there should be compromise on both sides?
Absolutely, there should be, because we cannot continue this way. It entails on our education system. It entails on our future. I mean, if doctors are on strike, I mean, student doctors, universities are on strike, and of course they've not covered part of the anatomy they're supposed to handle human-wise. Now they've graduated. Now there's supposed to be some operations, and you want me to trust those doctors? As these are things we should be looking at. So it's very, very vital. Okay. It's unlike I'm not trying to offend some people. If you go to some other courses, you can as well read at the point and understand, maybe at home. But when you're talking of going to the lab, you're going to do dissection, you open the human parts, you look at it painstakingly. Is it blood? You need to do. Is it muscles? You need them. I mean, is it the brain? They need them. And sometimes, look, you also need the human body, human dead bodies, to do practicals, to get some of these things, you know. And if you don't have them, you want to treat the heart, you want to handle the kidney, you need all of this. Okay. They are practical oriented. Right. So if we say the strikes will continue this way in perpetuity, I think it shouldn't be. Okay. There has to be a way out. Let us find leaders who indeed are committed to education. Let us have people within the academia. I've said Professor Wole Soyinka should come in. Let us, sit down with government and iron out these things. Where are the religious leaders? Where are traditional rulers? Let us look at this. It's always never this thing of sorry forever. Yeah. No.
All right. Well, okay. We will take a short break now, and then when we come back, the show will continue. Please stay with us.
Hello, welcome back. Before the break, we're looking at the newspapers, the headlines, and we still have Mr. Ben Sherman here to give us perspectives on the major stories. So we're back, Mr. Sherman. We thank you once again for coming this morning.
Thank you.
So before the break, we're talking about the ASU strike, and we're talking about some form of compromise.
Yes. And it's still not late at all. And that's why we're calling on people who indeed, all those who kind of have some endowment, endowment for research here and there. These are people who indeed the university system so trusts. Therefore, if you are sinking some money for research, for some endowment, it also follows that you should be part of those to do negotiations. But again, we'll look at the labor industry, I mean the ministry itself. Look, negotiations are always an art, a kind of. You don't impose. This is it. You feel that you are up there and the lecturers are down there. It's not the kind of headmaster versus pupil kind of relationship. I mean, the minister is also part of the university system. I mean, he went to a university, he's a medical doctor, so he should be able to also bring pressure to bear, whether to the president himself. So we also want the president, if you think that some people are not getting some things right, I mean, time has come that the president should also look at it very well, because the president should not just allow them to keep on going. If you check, many politicians go to see the president for consultation. Tambuwal has gone from PDP, is going to see the president. Ayade has gone from PDP to APC to go see the president. Now, the president is also going to host Tinubu and co, because politics is around the corner.
Right.
Why don't presidential aspirants begin to say, look, as today now, let us drop our aspirations. Let's meet ASU, as maybe association of aspirants. Let us meet the federal government over this lingering crisis, so that they are resolved once and for all.
I want us to take a look at other stories now. On the Punch newspaper, quite a number of them. They lead with the story about the presidency. It says, Obi's camp protest as PDP dumps zoning. Screening begins Friday. Other stories says, Rep summon Adebayo over MTN's alleged 2.6 trillion naira tax evasion. Economic crisis worsens as forex inflows fall by $9.58 billion. You also see clearing agents kick as customs reintroduce e-evaluation next week. Other stories there at the bottom, you'd see the pictorial, you'll see Ogun Governor Abiodun declares support for Osibanjo's presidential bid. And then at the very bottom, there are other stories. Lagos businessman battles Oshun Prince, wife over 6 million naira diesel deal. And then Imo explosion. Relatives absent as victims get mass burial. Nigeria leads Nigeria leads the first quarter oil production shortfall. World Bank cites sabotage. So these are stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper. The Imo explosion is one story that has generated a lot of, reactions, sympathy for the victims that are involved in this. But from what we're seeing now on the Punch newspaper, there was a mass burial, and then some relatives did not show up for the mass burial. What could be wrong?
Well, sometimes it's not easy to verify some of these victims, match victims to bodies, because there has to be some scientific methods to verify whether this is my relation or not. But having said so, it has also taken some days, sometimes, to bury that. As at yesterday, people were saying, look, there could be some outbreak of some diseases. There were these foul smells here and there. And when people got burned, some were burned to ashes, some burned beyond recognition. So when people, as the paper is saying, relations stay away or stayed away from the mass burial site or scene, well, I mean,
perhaps could there be some, maybe for fear of trauma, or maybe for fear of some
incidentally in Africa
sad experiences.
In Africa, even if you say this is an Ebola victim, we still want to show that kind of a love. A human, a dead body must always have an honor. But I think there could be some other things behind this headline that made this people not to be there. Were they advised not to go because they have seen some kind of infections or some communicable diseases are going to catch up with some people, or you contract them, and that was why they stayed away. So there should be usually what they say, news behind the headlines, or behind the headlines, what happened. So ordinarily, this headline says this, but deep inside, there is a reason for that. But having said so, we look at this issue of tax evasion by some international companies as read there. Honestly, sometimes we give in Nigeria too many tax holidays to some companies. And by the time we give them 5 years, look, you do business, we won't tax you, come and do your business. And by the time they begin to reap as much as possible, in the end, you see that some will want to pull out of the system. But if look at the battle with DSTV. Look at the battle with many of these GSM providers, Global System for Mobile Communication. You can end a call, but to switch off, it's a problem. It keeps on going and going. Nobody's checking that. All these unsolicited adverts, you call somebody, the biggie telling you to do this, that if you want to download this, I just want to speak with my person. So these are things they should be checking. So
I thought that's something that the NCC is very particular about.
Yes,
especially
but I mean, the hammer is not maybe too heavy. They should raise it higher so that when they hit, of course, the impact will be there. A situation where a company, DSTV, you just come and say, no. If you go to South Africa, it's about pay as you consume. It's like your meter. If you like, when you have a card, you can pull out that card and the light goes off. So that when you come, you plug it in and the light starts again. But why is it that with Nigeria, everyone would just come in, you want to make the money so fast, so fast? I'm coming, Stella. Look at when they say MTN is South Africa. MTN, when you say the numbers of those using MTN in Nigeria, let's say 70 million. Now, what's the population of South Africa? Maybe about 60 million, which means in Nigeria, the numbers of those using MTN is more than the entire population of South Africa. So you can see the money they get. And they'll just come here and do whatever they feel like doing. It shouldn't be at all. There should be some checks. And,
Mr. Chairman, in the case of the DSTV, a lot of people have said that that should throw up a challenge to Nigerians that, okay, what they are maximizing, what they're using is the power of monopoly. So isn't there something Nigerians can do, the private sector, the government, to have a viable competitor so that if there's competition, will DSTV do what it's doing?
Yeah, there should be, and of course, a company is coming up. I've forgotten the name. It's pay as you consume. Just go there, select the station you want, and of course, if you are not watching, it does not run. But let me tell you, there used to be MG before this DSTV could come on board. It was Nigeria. Is it Mohammed Garba or Garba, something like that? And the man was all over the place, even producing the TV sets. But you see, the craze about foreign product in Nigeria is just there. People prefer, just a moment, people prefer to go and queue in ShopRite and buy Ijebu Gari, compared with what you can just buy in an open market here.
Well, I believe strongly that sometimes also part of the factors that are determining the choices of people is about quality, is about value for money, isn't it? So what's the guarantee that some of these offers that are coming up will be able to give value, for people's money? Because experiences in the past has proven otherwise, in these instances. So it's something that Nigerians perhaps are skeptical about. It's not just enough to cash in on the sentiments, but again, the offering that you are bringing to the table, is it something that will guarantee value for the money? That's just something to think about.
Yes, I agree with you. And that is why feedback mechanism is very, very vital when you have a product. The moment you come in, of course, there are ways you can contact. Yes, I bought this, but I can observe so in terms of picture quality. I can observe so in terms of voice quality. I can observe so because of the scene and all that. By the time you give all of that assessments or complaints, of course, they go to the drawing board. It's always a thing that you can't just hit the ground and say you are 100% okay. When DSTV came to Nigeria, of course, they were having these teething problems, but they balanced, so to speak.
Right.
But they make more money in Nigeria more than they make in their home countries. But when you come in and you feel that you are above, look, the National Assembly will call the leadership of these companies. I mean, some people will rush to court and say you can't summon us.
Okay, thank you for your perspectives. We appreciate you coming on Daybreak. We have to bring this to an end at this time.
Thank you, my pleasure, as usual.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman.
Thank you.
Ben Sherman, Director of News, Voice of Nigeria, has been our reviewer on this segment. We'll now take a quick break and take a look at what Nigerians are doing from day to day to earn a living, talking about my daily hustle. Please stay.
But in a situation where you find that a person look like the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
but I have said that